In this video, we will review the process of completing the Flight Training Request Form. This form allows us to begin the process of enrolling you in a flight training lab at Polk State College. You can access this form via the program website at polk.edu/aerospace. Next, click Professional Pilot Science AS Associate's Degree. Then, About the Program. On the right side of the screen, under Related Information, find the link for the Flight Training Request Form. Clicking this link will open the online form in a new browser tab. There are a few points we need to discuss before we address completing the form. First, each academic term has a flight training application deadline. We notify all enrolled students about upcoming deadlines via their Polk State student email. Make sure you don't miss upcoming deadlines for enrollment. This form must be submitted and approved prior to the deadline. Don't wait until the last day to submit the form. Second, it is critically important that you do not complete this form until after you've registered for classes for the term. This form will capture your weekly availability. From there, we will build your weekly flight schedule. Please ensure that your class and work schedules are set before completing this form. Once your availability is approved and the schedule is built, we may not be able to accommodate schedule changes. In that case, you would be dropped from the flight training lab and encouraged to apply again for the next term. Third, we need to talk about how you list your availability. You're required to fly at least 3 times each course week. We need to ensure you have availability that exceeds that requirement to account for adverse weather, aircraft maintenance issues, and personal needs, like sickness or unexpected travel. We require a minimum of 3 days of open availability. However, your availability can't be clustered together in only 3 consecutive days, like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It must be spread out throughout the week. Weekday availability after 5 p.m. does not count toward total available time. Many students want to work an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday job and still conduct flight training. That simply isn't possible at Polk State. While we understand that flight students still have to work, we have to ensure that each student has adequate availability to reasonably complete the enrolled flight lab within the term limits. Available days where you have less than 3 available blocks do not count toward total available time either. Again, we need to ensure you have adequate time available to allow for real-time schedule changes due to weather, aircraft availability, and other factors. Now, with all of that background content behind us, let's look at how you will actually fill out the flight training request form. I won't take the time to explain each field in the form, as most are self-explanatory. Almost every field of the form contains instructions immediately below the field title. Please follow these instructions. Failure to complete the form correctly will result in you having to resubmit the form in its entirety. Please be honest about your weight. We need to plan ahead regarding student-instructor assignments. Your weight will determine which instructors on staff you can fly with. When you get to question 9, the form branches into 2 different directions. If you're currently engaged in flight training, the form will ask you what you're pursuing and where you are in your training. We need this information to determine if you will be eligible to begin the intended course of training at the beginning of the semester. Regarding the FA medical certificate, despite our repeated requests, many students fail to obtain their FA medical certificate prior to beginning the semester. You must have a medical certificate prior to beginning flight training with us. Failure to do so will result in you being withdrawn from the enrolled course of training. We strongly recommend that you obtain a first-class medical, but we only require a third-class medical for enrollment in the program. The form contains a link where you can find a medical examiner in your area to complete this requirement. Now, you will select your available flight blocks for each day of the week. Normal flight operations run from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week. We also conduct night flight training as well, so we need to know which days you're available after 7 p.m. Please select all blocks where you are available. The more options you provide us, the easier it will be to build a flight schedule for you. It is important to consider that the availability blocks you select are actual flight training slots. You will need to arrive at our Airside East campus no less than 30 minutes prior to your flight slot, and you will leave the building approximately 30 minutes after the slot ends. For example, if you have a class at 9 a.m., don't select the 700 to 900 time slot. You won't be done with that training activity until about 9:30, and you will always miss that class. When you're done with the form, please click Submit. A copy will be sent to our program office, and we will follow up with you to let you know if your form is accepted or if it needs revision. If you have any additional questions regarding completing this form, please reach out to our program staff for further assistance.